The folk scene in South Florida, you could say, started in the 60s when the New York folk artists started vacationing down here. Basically, it was Vince Martin and Fred Neil. Vince Martin had really the first hit in Greenwich Village was Cindy Oh Cindy, I think in '59, and with this fallout of money, he came down to Coconut Grove and started have a sailboat and started living the Coconut Grove life. He invited his good friend Fred Neil down here, and before you know it, this became the Greenwich Village of the South. There was 2 or 3 folk clubs that opened up, a few more. And so that happened in the 60s. So there was also a music scene happening in the black urban area, the Motown music. There's a distinct Miami sound. But in the 70s and 80s, after I moved back home to South Florida after college in 1980, the place was dead. There was no folk music here. There was no listing of folk music in the newspapers. So what I did was just started a folk club. I started producing, I found a restaurant on what's now South Beach. Back then it was Miami Beach. It was called Our Place Natural Foods Eatery at 860 Washington Avenue. And this health food restaurant had a little stage in the back of it. So I approached the owner and said, hey, let me put on weekend shows. So every Friday I had an open mic, and every Saturday I had a concert. And I called it the Folk Club so people knew what it was. And sure enough, people started calling me, say, hey, can I play at the Folk Club? And I started getting some big names coming down from up north down here. From Gene Ritchie comes to mind. And then through that, I started a folk series. But music in South Florida was actually dying. There was nothing. There was a time when Miami Beach had nothing but DJs. And DJs just put everybody out of business. It was the most bizarre thing. DJs were getting as much money as bands, full bands, putting bands out of business so some guy could spin records. But that was South Beach for quite a long time. And it seems now, since the development actually of the Arts District, that live music is making its way back.